Hi again, orators. This is the third lecture, the third mini lecture for week 5. All right, and in this one, we're going to look at some of those other concern areas like plagiarism. This is a short clip that comes out of the Algonquin College Library. It is posted. I will make the link available. You should know AA 48, which is your integrity, academic integrity. It's critical.
Plagiarism and you. You've probably heard the term plagiarism before, but you might have questions about what it is or how it's relevant to you. This video will answer these questions so you can avoid plagiarism in your work. So what is plagiarism exactly? Plagiarism is when a person presents someone else's work as their own without giving proper credit to the original source. Even if you only use parts of a work, or you do it by accident, anytime you use someone else's work as your own without permission or without giving credit, it is plagiarism. This includes copying work from online sources. This doesn't just include text, it also includes ideas, images, code, graphics, music, videos, inventions, and even song lyrics. This work is someone else's intellectual property.
Okay, right there is proof positive when you put your TED Talks in. When you are using any of those images, you need to cite and reference them. I'll let you watch the rest of the video on your own. Links will be provided. I think most of you do know why you have to have citations listed. You know you need to have the in-text citations and you need to have your final reference list. Has to be APA format. Voila, has to be APA. Whether you're using the 6th or the 7th edition, I'm good with either one. Many people will have transitioned. Some will still be on the 6th. I'm good. I'm very comfortable with assessing any of them. They all have a great deal of similarity. There are some aspects that have varied between them. The big thing is get the author, get the year, get a page or get a paragraph or a subpage that you have. You have to have links that match directly from your in-text citation to your reference list. So even though I casually keep referring to the OER or the eCampus or the open resource or your textbook, in the reference list and in every single time I have it cited, it's listed as eCampus Ontario because that is the publisher of it. Whenever I've referenced the Scully handbook, it is listed as Scully. First, that is how it appears in alphabetical order for the S for Scully. Make sure that you've got one coherent reference list for your whole team. That means somebody is going to have to be responsible for vetting it and putting it together properly. Everybody should contribute their individual parts, but hopefully one person can quickly alphabetize everything at the end. Some specific hints: use OWL, use Citation Machine. Do not rely on Microsoft. And heads up, the way that references are listed on TED is forever inaccurate compared to how you have to do it for APA. You have to list the person who's doing the presenter as the author. It happens to be on the TED network, so that's your website. All right, you also for this workshop have to assess your peers. A minimum of 4 up to 6 peer workshops. You need to have minimum of 2 from the first week and 2 from the second week. Yes, I do track that. And if you want to do the extras, go ahead, do extras. I usually say do 1 from each week as an extra so that you don't have 4 and 2 as you're waiting. You can see how the team rubric has been modified slightly. It is posted for you. I believe in the template that I've uploaded to the Prof. Judy website, only 4 are pasted in. You will submit 1 package after both weeks. It's your job to keep that straight. It should be pretty straightforward. Please notice there's an overall impact for the team, and there is a specific wow and a specific thing that could be worked on per group. So you're doing 1 marking sheet per group, not 1 marking sheet per member of a group. All right. Also, you need to assess yourself and your peers. This course is built on reflection, so you have a chance to review. What is it I should be improving about myself? What might have worked better on my team? So you'll go through your strengths, your appearance, impact, content, slides. What was the best part of it, in your opinion? These ones are handed in individually to me. You do not have to share them with your teammates. I strongly encourage you don't, because you're also going to do an assessment at the bottom. And you'll notice I haven't actually filled it in. There's room for 4 people. You can make it be out of 100 per person. You can make all of the categories be out of 20, however you like. If somebody in your group in one or more categories is not coming up to the same weighting as another member, for that I want an explanation, please. All righty, and that brings us to what you also have to do in week 5 in our live class. You're going to have to do a quick talk on something that, a presentation that you heard that was particularly memorable. Share a story, give it to us as a story. Don't retell us what the story was about. Identify something specific in terms of that presenter's body language and voicing. Less concerned about the content. I mean, you can make a fleeting reference to it, but mostly you're talking about, I'm going to advise 3 top things: body language and voicing that really impacted you. Your trigger, you have to prepare a trigger sheet, and I really do expect them to be of a higher caliber as we're moving along. You should no longer be scribbling on a piece of paper when you come to class and doing it at the last minute. So have something printed out for yourself. It can be in black and white. I just happen to really like color printing. And, you know, there's the trigger sheet, that there's a screen grab of it. And you can see I've already written up here some information, because I had, no, I didn't go to see this speech, this presentation in 34. That's when Jane Goodall was born. And how would I specifically talk about it? Well, there were 3 elements that I wanted to focus on: her poise, that's part of persona; her tone, that's how she modulated her voice; and the rate. She spoke at varied rates, although mostly she was incredibly methodical in how she spoke. And then I would have given a short story about how she was able to connect, even though she is considerably older than most of the people who were in attendance at that guest lecture she did. It was at the Shaw Center a few years ago, and how she moved along and engaged the people who were there in a phenomenal way. To this day, the woman continues to do exciting, passionate activities, all related to conservation. And most recently, she started this Hopecast a couple of years ago. So you will pick something. 45 to 60 seconds is your targeted timeline. And that pretty much brings us then, wrapping around here. These are the groups that are currently scheduled. Week 4, you had some time in class. Hopefully you have a meeting before our week 5 class. Week 5, you have a class as well. And your slides will be due February 15th, 6 p.m. And I did say, if you catch a couple of errors that you want to fix, I'll let you make adjustments up to 10%, and there's no penalty. Oh, you know what? There should have been a visual here. It would really be good to add a visual. Go ahead, do it. Let me know. Send me a copy of your revised slides and give me a heads up what I should be looking for. One final bit of tips in terms of what you're going to do on presentation day. Go look at that power pose. A few of you talked about it. This is an article that was just right before COVID about Amy Cuddy again. And, make yourself big, make yourself work. And hopefully you've got all of this ready so that your group is solidly prepared. The last thing I wanted to point out is where we're at in terms of grades, and by the break, we're at pretty much half of the marks of the course. So you can see it's adding up. Personal evaluation, first discussion, your brain laterality activity. Second discussion is going to happen in the coming weeks. Your first quiz closed, well, at the end of week 4. You had a TED Talk that was due last week, and then you had some in-class week 4 planning, and then continuing on. The talks weeks 1 to 5, I told you anybody who's gotten up to the front of the class gets their 1 mark automatically, added up to 5%. Each week was an easy peasy one. Contract and thesis, the actual workshops, peer assessments that you have to complete, yourself and peer evaluation of your groups, and then you have another quiz that's going to happen right before the break. And that's about it. See you in class in week 5.